how can anyone say they own when you still have to pay property tax despite paying off the house? And so I was like, when you rent, you pay property taxes. You call it rent, but your landlord takes that money and uses it to pay property taxes. And you not only pay the property taxes, you pay your landlord enough for him to make money off of you. So I was like, I don't get the whole deal, but yeah, it's like I don't know. I was like, this is why people say stay out of the comments.
Yeah. My response would have been spoken like a true renter. So then I would have educated them. Good things come to those who wait, but better things come to those who don't. That's the title of today's
Yeah.
today's podcast, ladies and gentlemen.
And see, I've tried to get creative with the titles, and then I've also tried to tap into ChatGPT. Like, hey, this is what the episode's about. What would be 5 good title ideas? And just pick one of those that sounds clever. And it's like, I have no idea what this algorithm thing is about.
You never know.
Yeah.
And you know the algorithm is based on AI.
It is.
You know it is.
Yeah.
So why can't we use AI to beat AI will never outsmart itself, but it touts that it can outsmart human intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever. Don't get me started on AI, please. Let's just get started with the episode.
Yeah. We're not AI fans here. People losing their jobs and everything to AI. Well,
yeah, anything with the word artificial in it, artificial insemination, artificial hair.
I think it's an oxymoron.
No good. Well, hold on. I don't want to walk around looking bald headed. So, artificial hair, let's leave that one out the equation. But artificial intelligence, no.
See, I think that it's an oxymoron because I don't think you can put intelligence right after artificial because there's nothing intelligent about it if it's artificial. It's literally programming. It's artificial programming, or it's human programming. It's whatever. They call it machine learning, but it's not intelligence though. It's ones and zeros. Which is computer programming code. Everything's in ones and zeros and everything. So yeah, I feel like it's an
Let's
oxymoron.
call it what it is: unreal, artificial, fake, unreal, artificial. They don't want to use those words. They don't want to use those adjectives, unreal and fake, because it sounds worse than artificial. Mm-hmm. But if I say fake intelligence, if I say unreal intelligence, I feel like it grounds people more in reality of what we're actually dealing with. Mm-hmm. This is not real life. Yes, it may produce something that sounds pretty. Like, oh, it's so funny. I was reading this article about these people who are using ChatGPT on the dating apps to craft responses and make themselves sound more interesting to potential dates. And then when they meet them in real life, it's like, well, I feel like I don't know who I'm talking to. Where's this intelligent, caring, attentive individual that I was, going back and forth with online? I want that person back. And it's like, babe, ABC 1, 2, 3. I don't know what to tell you. This is all you get.
I can't put 2 sentences together.
I was like, this is going to be the bane of a lot of people's existence, because much like, typing replaced people having to actually write legibly in like handwriting, I feel like AI is taking away people's ability to think for themselves, and we just all become these programmable robots. So I feel like I keep myself more fresh the more I stay away from it. But that's just me.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You're torn.
I can see some of the benefit to making life easier. But I also am of the mind that easier does not equal better. Just because we can decrease all our workload and just have the machines do it. It's like, but how is that better, for us? Mm-hmm. It's just like, all the stuff that we used to have to do with manual labor, now we can have machines do it, and now we're like unhealthy. People don't, do a lot of what, I mean, a lot of the stuff in our economy has been driven to a lot of just what was easier or what was going to make more money. It's
Mm-hmm.
easier to put a bunch of artificial stuff in the food rather than produce healthy natural stuff. And so,
But it's
then
causing widespread cancer. Everywhere
exactly.
you look is cancer. And it's like, are y'all sure this is better? Are y'all sure this is safe? Oh, it'll feed more people. Oh, it's more filling. Oh, we can produce it faster. We can mass produce it faster because there's just so much people in the population. Well, I guess you're taking care of that. You're killing people off then. So,
Yeah.
oh, the world we live in. Mm.
Yeah, it's Oh, I will say, have you ever heard of seedless watermelons?
I ain't eating it. Bill
Yeah,
Gates,
it
I'm not
was.
eating it.
I was like, oh, this was manufactured in a lab to grow these things without seeds. And they've got other fruit that they make in labs without seeds.
Let
Because
me pull up Genesis.
and then on top of that, did you know that there are male and female trees?
I didn't know that.
There are male
I
and
didn't
female
realize that
trees
one.
and male and female plants. And similar to how like bees help pollinate, gardens so stuff can grow because and I found this out this year when we were in our garden. We had the garden this whole year. I didn't know how it worked. But there's squash, zucchini. You've got male and female plants. Both of them can produce, but it's like you need to have the male plant and the female plant. And the way that the bees help pollinate is that the bees will go on like the male plant, and some of the pollen and the dust that's on the male plant, the bee gets it on it when it's in the flower and everything like that. And then when it goes over to the female plant, that gets on the female plant. But that's what allows like a zucchini to grow or a squash to grow. And it's like, oh, well, trees do the same thing. And they were like, but a lot of what they did in our society is that they removed all these female trees. And so you have male trees that's shooting off all this pollen, but no female trees to be able to take that in to produce fruit. Because there used to be like fruit trees all over the place, but now you don't have that. So you remove all of what God gave us naturally, and it ends up, and they monetize it essentially to where now it's like, oh, you will pay us for literally what grows on trees. Like, I don't know, my mom used to say like, oh, money don't grow on trees, like don't be spending or wasting stuff because money don't grow on trees. But it's like food actually grows on trees,
Mm-hmm.
but we remove the trees that are needed for it to grow, so that everyone's forced to have to pay for it in a store, and then we have hunger problems. I'm like, but food grows on trees. How is it that we have hunger problems and all this stuff grows on trees? I'm sorry, I got all into this one day when I was like, this is, oh my goodness, the love of money is the root of all kinds of
It
evil.
sure is.
Like,
Genesis 1 and 29. And God said, behold, I have given you every herb or herb, whatever you want to say, whatever part of the U.S. you're from,
I like her.
bearing seed, which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree in the which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed. To you it shall be for me. Food is supposed to come from seeds.
Mm-hmm.
Like produces like. And this is exactly why I try to tell people, even, and you can edit this out if you want to, or you can keep it, Frederick, but even with homosexual relationships,
Oh no, I'm keeping
the
this.
reason why this doesn't go along with what it goes against God's command to not only be fruitful and multiply, but a homosexual relationship cannot produce other like of its kind, so that you have a whole generation that may die out. The same thing with if you have all male trees or all female trees, you need a male and a female to continue producing, so that when something dies off, you still have something to continue on the human race or continue on food. If everybody gets together with their same kind, there will be no production. And so that's why God views it as sinful, not because it's just so nasty and you just don't need to do that. That's what judgmental people who don't really understand the nature of the creation, the creation plan, the plan of creation, they want to make everything so nasty. Well, that's up to personal preference or personal opinion, whether or not it's nasty. But how God views it is, if you get two things together, and I commanded, that's the first command really that he gave mankind, husbands and wives, be fruitful and multiply. And you cannot do that if both people have the same reproductive organs.
Yeah.
Same thing with trees. If both trees have the same reproductive systems, it's not going to reproduce. And then it's going to be evil because people are going to be starving and don't have to.
They don't have to. It's like food, everything you need. It's like it grows out of the ground. It grows on trees, but we've so monetized it and made it to where, look, you need to pay us if you want to live. If you want to eat. Yeah, it's like you got to pay us for this food. And it's like, but God gave it to you for free. And
yes, He did.
And the seeds that come from it, I could take a seed and I could plant it, and it grows not an apple, it grows an apple tree that has who knows how many apples will be produced from that tree. And each one of those apples has a whole bunch of seeds. You could start an entire orchard from one apple. Just from the fruit that can be multiplied from that one seed. And I was just like, wow, because I didn't know that how far that stretched all the way into. It was literally like earlier this week or last week that I found out about the whole thing with trees. And I was like, because trees can't move. Like people can move, animals can move when they mate, but I was like, trees can't move. But then it's like, but then you've got the bees and the butterflies that all help pollinate one tree to the other tree, so that you still need male and female trees. And then the animals help carry that pollen so that the trees can still produce fruit and everything. My mind was blown. I was like, wow, see, God's put this whole aspect of seed and creation in everything. And so, and
it's not going to change. And that's what I love about it. No matter how much mankind wants to disagree with it or wants it to change, even if you do decide to be in a same-sex relationship, you still have to reach out to someone of the opposite sex to bring kids into that relationship. And so, no matter what, you can't change the natural order of things. And that is God's perfect and excellent design. Like, one way or another, it has to be done this way. Whether you keep on with it or whether you go back to whatever it is that you were doing, this is how it needs to be. And that's what I love about God. He truly is sovereign. And if he wants his plan to be the only thing that happens, ain't nothing none of us can do about it.
Yeah.
So, wow.
Yeah. Well, that was a good episode.
Good night, everybody.
Yeah. I feel like that was an episode in and of itself.
It really was.
Yeah. But I mean, that was good though. I honestly just, I just don't see how anybody can look at how God set up everything and the order and the structure of everything and not see the whole, I was I kind of was. I was leading a Bible study, if you will, that we used to have amongst several individuals at my previous company. And I was talking about how blessed is a man who walketh not in the way of sinners, nor sitteth, in
the seat of the scornful.
In the seat of the scornful.
But earlier this week. Yes, sir.
Walketh not in the counsel of the godly, or standeth in the way of sinners, or sitteth in the seat of the scornful, but his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law shall he meditate day and night. And then
day and night.
He shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water, who bringeth forth fruit in its season, whose leaf also shall not wither, and whatsoever he doeth shall prosper. Yep. And I was I would use part of that verse, particularly where it was talking about the tree planted by the rivers of water that bringeth forth fruit in its season, whose leaf also shall not wither. And I was talking about how everything that God made, he made it to bear fruit and multiply, and everything
Yeah.
has a seed within itself. And I was talking about how even in the beginning, when God created man, he put man in the garden, and everything in the garden produced after its own kind. The animals produce after their own kind, the fruit, and everything. But then you've got man who takes, and woman who produce after their own kind. And it was just like this whole perpetual cycle. And he's like, oh, be fruitful and multiply. But I was like, even if you were to take that to a sense outside of just like the physical sense, but even like God puts an idea in you, and it's like you can take that and exponentially,
Yes.
grab and captivate and capture so many people and bring them into the kingdom of God.
Yes.
You can take that idea and magnify God to a much greater scale, or you can just let that idea die on the inside of you and never do anything with it. But that's
Oh,
a
Jesus.
seed.
Mm-hmm.
It's a seed that he's giving you. So it's like there's so much stuff that even with that he's put on the inside of you, that in essence is like a seed that we need to cultivate and nourish and let it grow and everything like that. That was the essence of
Mm-hmm.
the talk and everything. So
Yeah, I think one of my favorite passages of the 23rd Psalms is the part of the making me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. Yes. And so we know that everywhere that God leads us, there should be peace. That's what signifies still waters. And then we see that again in the New Testament when there was a storm by the name of peace, which Jesus addressed and told to be still. He said, "Peace, be still." And so we know that when there's a lack of peace, the waters are not still. And then we go back to the Old Testament. I just love how when you really become a scholar of the Word of God, it explains itself. It um, it it prophesies itself, and you can always find New Testament in the Old Testament in the New. You can describe and explain the New Testament with the Old and the Old Testament with the New. But that green pastures part is so important because if he said to be fruitful and multiply, and then again in the New Testament when Jesus cursed the fig tree for having leaves but didn't produce any
fruit.
fruit. And so the leaves usually signify fruit because if you pluck fruit, usually there's a leaf on top and then the stem and you just pluck it. But a tree in full bloom that had leaves should signify that there's also fruit.
Yes.
Usually you would not have fruit and then just no leaves at all. Leaves signify the presence of fruit. So for this fig tree to have leaves but no fruit, that's why Jesus cursed it. And so anything that's green, it signifies life. It signifies that something is being replicated and something has been being nourished. And so anytime that we as believers are in doubt about a path that God has sent us on, or he's telling us to do something but it's not immediately producing prosperity or whatever it is that we're thinking, we have to remind ourselves that he maketh us to lie down in green pastures. It signifies life. It signifies something that is well watered. It signifies something that is going to produce. It's going to provide. If he sends us somewhere, it's going to provide. And so that's what I love about that scripture that you were talking about. He is like a tree planted by streams of water. And it produces its fruit in its season. That's the thing that we have to remember. If God sends us somewhere and then we don't see produce right away, it doesn't mean that God lied or that we missed God, but there's a time and a season for everything under the sun, and that's Ecclesiastes. So
Yep. That's also Pastor Dr. Hart Ramsey on this past Sunday, or no, Sunday before last, talking about time. Did you ever
I
catch
gotta
that
look
message?
at that one. Yeah.
Oh, you saw that one?
I know I gotta look at that one. I've
Yeah.
been catching up
Oh,
on Touch Point Tuesday lately.
I sent it to my father-in-law because he also has led Bible study before, and he talks about he loves speaking on time, and the way that Dr. Ramsey put everything when he was talking about time, it was just like, oh man, I got to share this. I shared it with
Oh, I
like,
can't wait to listen to it then. That's
yeah,
awesome.
no, it
He's
was
an
good.
excellent teacher.
Yeah, no, he is, and it was
Mm.
like it was really really good. But yeah, it talked about things happening like you said in God's timing, but it also talked about he went so deep on it, but he was talking about how sometimes God will tell you to do something and you don't do it, and sometimes there's doors that will close that will not get reopened again. And he told some personal stories of like God told
Mm.
him to act on something and he was like, okay, I'll get it when I get back. And he's like, when I got back, the thing was gone.
Mm.
And he was like,
Wow.
God in his grace opened that door for him to have another opportunity. And then after he took advantage of the opportunity the second time, he was like, I clearly heard God tell me, you waste time as if you have so much of it. He was like, when I tell you to do something, you need to do it. Like, this is not
Hmm.
a, I'll get to it when I feel like it. It's like, no, you need to act with a sense of urgency and get it done. So, yeah.
Yes. I was listening to his Touch Point Tuesday because, usually on Tuesdays, he'll go in depth on what he did Sunday.
Hmm.
And I'm so excited because he said he's about to start doing Touch Point Tuesdays in person. Some of his Sunday services, I like to hear his sermons, but some of his Sunday services I feel like are filled with a lot of fluff. So I don't typically go in person. But if he did a Touch Point Tuesday in person, I definitely would go. But this particular Touch Point Tuesday, he was elaborating on time. And so I'm assuming that that's what he talked about that particular Sunday. But he
Yeah.
said, how man's lifespan is what 70 or something like that,
Hmm.
and most people only live like the average age of men in the U.S. is 75, and women is 78, like the average lifespan. And
Yeah.
so he said, go ahead and just subtract your age from that,
Yep.
and that will give you a better viewpoint of, okay, I really guess I don't have as much time as I
Hmm.
thought. I'm 38, but dang, I got I've already lived about half of what, or over, halfway past, over halfway past
Yeah.
what time may be allotted on average to me. So I need to get on the good foot, and he's
Yeah.
like, when you start thinking about it in those terms,
That's
it
the
puts it in perspective. Yeah.
that's the touch point Tuesday for that time theme, because I heard the touch point Tuesday as
Okay.
well, and yep, that was the exact thing. Because I was thinking the same thing. I was like, wow, I'm 38, and
I didn't even want to think about it.
I was like, oh goodness, that's like I'm halfway through it, because 38 double, that's like 76. So I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm halfway. Oh goodness. And I've
Don't
wasted a
seem like
lot
it.
of time. Oh my
Mm-hmm.
goodness, I've wasted so much time when you put it in
Mm-hmm.
perspective like that. Because he was talking about teaching you how to number your days, and he was like, look at how much if you were to live to be, like you said, 77 or whatever it is,
Mm-hmm.
and divide that by 300 or multiply that by 365, or and then take your age in days and then subtract that from however old you're going to live to be, and you'll see how many more days you actually have and how you need to number them and plan out, like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, you don't
Mm-hmm.
have days to waste. You need to take
That's
advantage
right.
of all of these days. So
Yeah, and even just to learn that he himself is in his early 60s, like I think he said he was 62. I can't even fathom that. Like I know he probably uses Beijing and stuff, but that is crazy to think that he's that old. But it makes sense because, and I don't mean old as in like old man, but just like that's his age, but it makes sense because of the way that his teachings are so chock full of wisdom.
hmm.
Because I was thinking that he was maybe a few years younger than us, like maybe 50 at best is what I was thinking. 50, 52 maybe. But
Yeah.
for him to be 62, it makes sense now. But I don't know because there's plenty of older preachers that are older than that and they still don't make sense to me. So
Yeah. And
I just recommend him for anybody that, is at a place where they know the word, they were raised in church, and you want more, you want deeper. I absolutely recommend Dr. Hart Ramsey.
yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely. Hunger Church. That's the
Yes.
church. If you Google or YouTube Hunger Church, you'll see it. You'll see it pop up.
Yes. Yes. He is
Yeah,
excellent.
that black don't crack. He
And
uses
don't. And don't.
that cocoa butter, shea butter, whatever he using. It's like, oh, it's working. That melanin's looking
And
good.
yes, I know his wife isn't in her 60s, so she can't possibly be. I would say she's in her mid to late 40s, maybe. I think that there's a severe age gap there. It has to be because I know she looks good too. So I'm just like they both take care of themselves for
I
sure.
thought you were gonna say, yeah, wife is in like her 20s. I was like, oh,
No,
pastor.
a little older, but I don't know. Hair dye. Hey,
Yeah, I
it's
mean,
out there.
it's hard. It can be hard to guess our age. When I was in the Navy, there was a gentleman that I met. He was a first class, which for anyone who doesn't know, first class in the Navy is an E6. Generally, is someone who's been in the Navy for, I don't know, it could be somewhere between like 7 to 10 years in the Navy. I mean, maybe a little more, maybe a little less.
Mm-hmm.
But, E6, first class in the Navy. And I thought this brother was like 25, 26, maybe 28 at the most. I was like, he's like, how old do you think I am? I was like, because he had said something, and I was like, how old are you? And then he's like, how old do you think I am? I was like, 26, 27. He's like, I'm 41. I was like, you 41 years old? Not
Wow.
a wrinkle on his face, not a line anywhere. I mean, just, I was like, you carry it very well.
Mm-hmm.
You carry 41 very well. So,
Nice.
yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well,
25, 41. That's good.
yeah. Well, I guess that's what we have for you this week. Um, tune in next week and we'll see what we chat about next week.
You're serious?
I'm gonna post this for real though.
Okay. I mean,
I'm 100% gonna post this.
it's one of those. I used to always love those services when we would go in church and either doing praise and worship or just like during the first part of the service, this Holy Spirit would come in and move. And the pastor would be like, well, we're going to take up offering and go home because, I don't even have to preach today. I had prepared something, but this seems like everybody's gotten what they needed. Why even do that? I feel like that's what this was.
Yeah. I mean, I agree because like I've had the same services. Ours typically are like praise and worship. The praise and worship, like the spirit will just fall in a completely different way. And what was supposed to be like 3 songs or 4 songs, we're like 6, 7 songs into it. And we've got folks at the altar and it's just like, pastor is not getting to his sermon today because spirit just had a whole nother plan with how this service was going to go. And I'm sure there
Yep.
was some other people other than me that were like, yeah, I need this, not just to hear the man on stage, but this. And
Yes.
so yeah, it's like it just goes completely different, but it's all good. And I remember I was serving at church one time because our church has like multiple services. The 9 o'clock pastor preached the service. 11 o'clock, the 1 o'clock, and the 5 o'clock, spirit just fell in a whole nother way. He was like, we're not even getting to the service. If y'all want to hear it, y'all gonna have to listen to what I preached at the 9 o'clock because it was just different.
I love it. I love those preachers that will go ahead and follow the Holy Spirit.
Mm-hmm.
I do not like the ones in the times when they're just so, well, I prepared this sermon, so I need to preach because I took time to prepare this sermon. Okay, do it Wednesday. Or I know it's going to be some people that's mad because I didn't preach, so I'm going to go ahead and preach. No, that's ego.
Mm-hmm.
That's what that is. Because if the Holy Spirit has come in and done his job, usually you have to build up to get to this point. You have to preach all hard and sweat and expound on the word and then hoop and get to the place where you're at a high point in your message to come to this point. But we've come to this point and you didn't even have to do all that.
Mm-hmm.
Let us go home. My
Yeah.
grandfather was excellent at doing that. But he would also call the church to do fast several times throughout the year, not just in January. Like he was truly a spirit-led man of God. And a lot of pastors these days, they don't do that. And I don't want to say that they're wasting people's time, but every now and again we need something different. We need to shake it up a little bit so that God can take us to the next level.
Yeah.
If all you're determined to do is everything that you've always done, how can God get in there and move some things around and expand your audience and expand your reach and expand the amount of spirit within you? I feel like we're always so focused on the physical and the financial blessings and gifts that we want God to do. But spiritual growth is also just as much. We should be seeking those spiritual gifts and the spiritual things over just, well, Lord, bless me with a house, bless me with a car, bless me with a job, bless my, family. Lord, help me to hear you more. Help me to, understand more when I read your word. Help me to reach others. Help them to see you more in me. Expand my spiritual gifts, because it's everything in the spirit realm that dictates the natural. So that's what we should be focusing on more, so that we can see those manifestations. But we work from the outside in instead of the inside out.
I heard it put
And
one
that's why I
time.
think we don't get the results we're looking for.
Yeah. No, I heard it put one time. If God gave you everything that you prayed for, would anybody else's life look different? Would anybody else? Because a lot of people are praying
Wow.
for themselves, but it's like, if God gave you everything you prayed for, would anyone else's life change? Would anyone else's life look different? Because most people are just praying for themselves. They're just, God, I need financial blessing. I need healing physically, or I need,
Mm-hmm.
I need it, like you said, a new car. I need a new house. I want a job,
Mm-hmm.
making, this much money and doing this thing that I love to do, and help my social media blow up.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever it is, a lot of the stuff is centered on us, and it's like, okay, so if God gave you everything you asked for, who else's life around you and your sphere of influence would be changed, or even not in your sphere of influence, just who else's life would be changed? Who else are we praying
Mm.
for other than us, essentially?
Mm.
So,
Good. Good way to ground yourself.
yeah,
Sure.
I like my
I
4
love
a.m.
that.
mornings. I will say that it started as God started it. I'll put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was literally after the fast, and then all of a sudden I'm just like a day after the fast, I'm just waking up. It went on for like a month and a half of me just waking up at like 3 something in the morning, 3:30 in the morning, um, and then after that, calmed down. I was like, man, I missed that time. And then like about a few weeks ago, I started it back. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna make it a regular thing. Set my alarm, get up at 4 a.m. That's when I'm gonna start my time with God, and just spend that, you know, hour, 45 minutes, whatever, um, doing that. Then do a workout, start my work day. If I'm real tired, I'll go back to sleep. But I'm still getting up at 4 a.m. to get that time in at the beginning, because I don't know, it's just become the time I look forward to now. So,
It's awesome, Frederick. It's awesome.
yeah,
Changes you.
it does. It does.
Hmm.
Well, next week, I guess we can hit the other topics.
Yes. Always, there's always next week. We still gonna be in turmoil with the flood insurance program and canceled sales next week, just like we are this week. So we'll
Yeah,
be all right.
it, this government will still be where it's at. um,
Guarantee it.
yeah, the news still gonna be talking about the same stuff the news talking about. Um,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
so ain't nobody missed nothing by getting some more fruitful, beneficial things, and not the noise that's out there all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Yes. I can't wait till we become syndicated. Someone's gonna pick us up and we're just gonna become syndicated, and
yeah,
we're gonna take the show on the road. I mean, it is what it is. Just get ready for it.
yeah. I know it's just a late bloomer. That's all it is. It's a late bloomer, but it's gonna come.
We have to
And
be consistent. Consistency is the key. If they can look back and find content on a consistent basis, that's one thing that I admire about you is because no matter who's watching, no matter how many views you post consistently, and that's how you build a brand from nothing. Everybody knows that. So you're doing good. Keep going. Keep doing good. Be encouraged because that's what you're supposed to do.
Well, thank you. No, we're doing good. We're gonna get it out there. It's gonna happen. So cool,
Yep.
cool. Well, we'll figure out next week then, and we'll chat about something else. But no, this was good for this week, though.
I agree. I can't wait to watch it back.
Cool, cool.
All
Alrighty.
right.
Well, till next time.
All right. I'll see
Ciao.
you later. Ciao.